Hello, this is Paco.
Cool.
Thank you for watching this video. I know it might not be so funky to talk about art fairs these days, but as it happens that I wrote a book called The Art Fair Age, so I think that's the least I can do. I know that Roberta Smith said around about 1.5 years ago that she wished that all the fairs disappeared. I think that things are much more complex, and actually we, instead of continuing this debate about the market and the spirituality of art and versus commodification and this discourse that really belongs to the past century, I think it's much more interesting to try to comprehend why art fairs have become so important, and even if we consider them excessive. So that was the main reason why I wrote my book. I think there are three elements that can help us to try to understand this phenomenon. First one is that art fairs are sophisticated urban entertainment centers. It's not only about the artistic quality or the art that is displayed, but also about all the activities that are generated around the fairs. I mean, visiting collectors' houses, conferences and panels, performances, museums, openings, and so on. And this whole package makes the art fair as artistic platform quite interesting. Secondly, it's art fairs, unlike biennials and museums, allow the visitor to become active. I mean, he's not interpassive as he used to be. So because most of these events are specially scheduled for the visitor. And on the other hand, art fairs allow a visitor a more democratic and less intimidating access to contemporary art. For example, let's say if you enter a gallery like Andrea Rosen or another one, it could be for some people quite intimidating, while at an art fair it's very anonymous. You can walk around and nobody asks you if you don't want to. And last, I think art fairs have become so booming because they fit into a wider context of this oniric and capitalism, in which it's all about staging experiences, and people want to have new experiences, and really art fairs provide this kind of new, interesting, not only artistic but also funky experience, and which goes beyond the artwork or the art fair, but also so these three elements explain a little bit why art fairs have become so funky, and why art fairs even compete with biennials and have acquired an own cultural status. Second element I would like to talk to you about is the curator and his involvement with art fairs. I like to talk about the art fair curator and the curated art fair. The last years there have been more and more curators involved with art fairs, and they also conceive special projects for art fairs, and art fairs are looking for these kind of projects to stand out among this big mess of art fairs. So in a sense I think this is a good development, because I think that even if an art fair is a commercial platform and it's about sales, we can make them more funky, more intelligent, at least try to have parts that are more curated or even more intellectual, and that also can become a little more pedagogical. And in this sense I suggested the concept new fairism, that goes back to the concept new institutionalism. Basically it means how we can reframe an art fair to make it more interesting, more arresting, and I'm sure that this involvement that's bigger and bigger of curators with art fairs can help with that. I mean, art fairs are not going to change in the sense that they are sales platforms, but having special curated projects, panels and so on makes them more intelligent. And I think this is good. Also, the background of people who are directing art fairs is changing. It's not so much commercial or entrepreneurial, but more and more curators and art critics are leading or are involved with the management of art fairs. And in this sense, it's good because you can have a more focused and a more curated and a tighter curated art fair. And I think this is good. So this brings me to the last part of my talk, and it's what's going to happen with art fairs. Obviously, art fairs are not going to disappear because they're just another artistic platform, especially a sales platform. But as I wrote in my book, I suggest that except one or two big art fairs like Art Basel Miami Beach, Art Basel Miami or Freeze, most art fairs will have to refrain themselves towards smaller platforms, will become more focused, more curated, will become platforms in which networking will be more fruitful, in which people get along and have a more profound relationship, not just like what used to happen, for example, with Art Basel Miami Beach and the 29 collateral art fairs. So I think it's interesting because the actual moment of crisis and crash will bring issues back down to earth, and also this will allow us to rethink how art will look like in the beginning of this new century and what the place of art fairs will be. I know that many people would like to think that art fairs are just simple sales platforms, but it isn't. And actually, during the last years, there has been a very clear fairization of biennials and also biennialization of art fairs. So things are much more complex than it used to be. So that's why, once again, the debate art and market, it's for me, it belongs to the last century, and it doesn't reveal the complexity of the actual moment. Thank you for listening, and I would really encourage you to read my book. Bye-bye.